just covered the MoveQuest overview. We just covered the MoveQuest overview to establish some context before activating an advanced A-player conversation. Massive amounts of respect to all of you who are taking time to focus on success today. As you know, where focus goes, energy flows. Being here in this way says a lot about you and your commitment to your own success. Let's keep pushing forward. Now, the next section of the Super Saturday event is an advanced A-player conversation focused on the MoveQuest ecosystem. How does it all work? One of the absolute best ways to learn more about a thing is directly from its source. That being said, today I have the extreme pleasure of introducing to you one of the most successful women on the planet. She's an expert in the field of crypto and blockchain. She is the architect behind the idea of MoveQuest. And who better to learn about the MoveQuest ecosystem than the one who designed it? Ladies and gentlemen, light up the screen with those emojis and give an A-player welcome for the founder of MoveQuest, the light paper lioness, Miss Lynette Artin. Lynette, are you there?
I am. How is everybody today? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Very good. I'm thinking I better stay over here by the window or I'll lose my Wi-Fi. All right. So I'm not going to take up a whole lot of people's time today. Tuesday, if we, I don't know how many are new people on this call and how many are existing users of MoveQuest. So I don't want to start confusing everybody. If you are new, I would still welcome you to join us on Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern call when I do my updates, because I'm going to go over the ecosystem in depth so that people understand exactly how MoveQuest operates. So it is a self-funding ecosystem. It's built like a blockchain. It's not a blockchain. But I just want to explain to people, I've been involved in crypto since 2009 in the early days. And like many people, then I knew nothing about crypto. So I made a lot of mistakes. And like some of you who have had your wallets compromised or have clicked on, those phishing links from the scammers, I've lost close to $500,000 in crypto. So I feel your pain when you lose. Okay, for mine were just stupid, silly mistakes where I wasn't thinking. I knew better, and sometimes my gut even told me. But take that aside, because a lot of people think, oh, I'll end up losing. It's not even worth my time. Well, even as silly mistakes that I've made and the amount of crypto. Now, when I tell you I've lost over $500,000 in crypto, that's not $500,000 US dollars that I invested into crypto. That amount of crypto that I lost, I might have only, spent a few $1,000s, but I'm a crypto hoarder. Okay. I don't sell my crypto. I have crypto in wallets that is still sitting back from 2009, 2010, 2011. I was buying Ethereum when it was 55 cents. And I don't sell my Ethereum. I just let it sit. But there are things that I do in the crypto space so that I can live off of my crypto. Mining and staking are two of those things. I've been in many, many projects, okay, because that was part of my learning process. And none of those projects are here today. I've invested in many blockchains. Some of those blockchains turned out to be nothing or fell to the wayside, but most of those blockchains are still here. And so when you look at how blockchains are built and how they work, what the fundamentals are and what the infrastructure and the foundation is, that is how a project should be built. And if you do that, you've got a strong project. And a perfect example, your projects that come and go and fail, they bring in hundreds of millions of dollars. They bring in hundreds of thousands of people, sometimes even a few million people in a very short time frame. And most of those people lose. The creators walk away with most of your money, and the whales that were able to pre-buy tokens because they were somebody special to the creator and they could get some fast money to be able to put up their project. I don't believe that every project creator comes in and says, oh gee, I'm going to do this to scam people. I just think clearly they don't understand how crypto works, and so they make really stupid projects with really stupid fundamentals and absolutely no utility. And, there's a lot of people in the crypto space that don't appreciate me saying that, but the facts are the facts. And most of you who are here, you've probably experienced that yourself, right? You've gotten into projects, you thought they sounded like the best thing on the planet, and 3 to 6 months later, they were gone. You couldn't access the website, you couldn't get into your dashboard, and you had to wait for them most of the time to release your tokens. And if your tokens even did get released, or if you were able to get a hold of them, they weren't worth a hell of beans because there was nothing left of that project. And what was there in liquidity was already gone. We've been creating and building this project and developing it for 4 years. We had a 4-year roadmap, and we are completing that, and it will be completed before the end of the year. The hatcheries, they are a big deal. Okay, they are as important as submitting. As a miner, you are trying to gather up as many tokens as you possibly can. You don't have to go out and buy fancy equipment. You just need a phone or a fitness tracker, or both. I recommend using the fitness tracker because it's more precise. It captures all the physical activity in a 24-hour period, minus the time it's charging. And so your mining rewards are much better. You don't have to go buy these, massive, memory and things that you need now. I mean, anymore, you need a warehouse full of computers in order to even mine Bitcoin to make it worth your while, because it becomes so expensive. But even back in the day, I was able to mine Bitcoin off of my computer. My whole point is this. Our ecosystem is what funds your liquidity. How many of you have been in projects where you had to go and create the liquidity for that project? The problem with that is there's no guarantee that that liquidity is going to be there, because everybody who provides that liquidity is able to pull that liquidity anytime they want. And so when your whales come in and they sell all the tokens off, that takes from the liquidity. But then your people who are providing that liquidity freak out and they pull the liquidity. Before you know it, everything crashes. So MoveQuest is all about utility. MoveQuest is all about being fully decentralized. It doesn't need me for you to mine the MoveQuest token. It doesn't need me to do anything. It just has an ecosystem that has to follow common sense when it comes to blockchain, supply and demand, the amount of tokens that are being mined on a daily basis, and the use of that token. It's not a coin because it's not a blockchain, it is a token, so it is utility backed. And there's a lot of utility that's still coming. To finish up our roadmap, we need to, round 1 or V1 of our roadmap, we'll be introducing, version 2 of our roadmap, which will encompass the next 4 years, because there's a whole lot more coming to MoveQuest. This is just the beginning stages. And some of you have been here since the beginning, so you've seen everything that's transpired, where we started and where we are today. And that's another point I'd like to make. We're still in the development stages, which is a good thing, because that means that we're still building in liquidity, which makes the ecosystem even more powerful. 4 years later, do you know how many projects have come and gone in that 4 years? And how many have you guys been in that have come and gone in the last 4 years? And we're still strong. And one point is that we have a very small community of people. And so for the token to be at the market value that it's at, for the project to thrive in the way that it does, we have less than 10,000 wallets that hold the MoveQuest token. And we have between 3,500 and 4,500 people that submit on a basis. Now, if you look at the past year on Avalanche, what do you think it's going to do when we have 25,000 people, 75,000 people, 100,000 people? We will be able to reach Bitcoin prices and beyond in a much shorter time frame than Bitcoin was able to do it, just because of my experience in the crypto space, being able to take what I know doesn't work and what I know does work, and to create the most solid project that is the planet, bar none. I don't care what people say. Well, why is the market value only $4? Well, geez, well, Pete's, we only got about 500 to 4,500 people that submit every day. Well, how much higher would you like that market value to be? Imagine what it'll be when there's 10 times that amount of people. This project is the bomb. This project is the shit, let me tell you. And so when people want to criticize it or say, well, the market value or your fees, your submission fees are too high, I just laugh at them, because those are people that don't know what they're talking about. And they need to come and learn what MoveQuest is all about. It's all math, and it's all supply and demand. And you guys are here, you witness it, it works. And it stays pretty steady right now between that $4 and that $5 mark. Well, why is that? Because it's a self-funding ecosystem, and this is where it can be stable. Okay, you don't have to worry about somebody coming in and wiping out your liquidity, because the liquidity belongs to the community. That doesn't exist here. So we have a very strong project. Now, on Tuesday, those of you, I know sometimes my spreadsheets confuse you. I'm going to try to simplify them as much as possible. I'm going to go through the entire ecosystem. Talking about blockchains, and I've said this many times, but so some of you, this may be repetitive, some of you, it may be the first time you've heard it. The very first time that I sold Bitcoin, and my son had to twist my arm, let me tell you. He wanted to buy a new truck. He was getting married, had a baby on the way. You know how your kids kind of pull at your heartstrings and those emotions. And he's like, oh my God, okay. Now, this was back in probably 2011. I had to go back and look at my records for sure. He wanted to borrow $6,500. And so I broke down and I sold my Bitcoin. Do you know it cost me over $1,500 to cash out $6,500 in Bitcoin? That's how high the fees were. Why? Because there wasn't very many people involved in Bitcoin. The fees were much higher because blockchains are self-funding ecosystems. And now you've got millions of people that have Bitcoin. And that same transaction probably cost me a couple dollars, if even that. Okay, that is what's happening here with MoveQuest. Your fees are not too high. If you want to know the truth, your fees are really too low. It's not about profit today, it's about profit in the future. It's what a miner does. The miner is mining these tokens so they can bank them up. So when the market value goes up and the demand for that token is there, you sell it and you get that market value. And I'm just going to tell you, you should be doing other things if you want to sell crypto, okay? You don't want to sell your MoveQuest. That's probably the most powerful token that you have in your wallet. You may not believe it. You may not think so today. But those of you that have sold off hundreds and thousands of MoveQuest, silly, silly people. The only time I would say it would be worth it to sell your MoveQuest is if it was a life or death emergency. And I'm not even kidding you when I say that, because I know where it's going to be. I know what it can do. I'm not a quitter and I've never failed, and I won't fail like this. It's impossible to fail. It can't even go bankrupt. It's impossible to fail. MoveQuest is impossible to bankrupt because it doesn't need new money. It doesn't need investors. We do not have one single investor in this project. We don't need investors. We need a peer-to-peer community. We need a growing, thriving community who's engaged in the ecosystem on a daily basis. That's how this project and that's how this token thrives. Now, getting to the hatcheries, we have a lot of holders here. Okay, you know, everybody sees those sellers on the exchange, see the red candles or whatever. And I know lots of times people just shake their head and go, oh my God, what are they thinking? That's fine. It doesn't hurt the project, as you clearly see. If you want that token to go up and you want your fees to decrease, there's an algorithm. Now, Once the hatcheries, everybody gets their tokens in, and you'll be able to see how this works. The boosts are coming out. The mining power-ups, the miners' increasing ability is coming out. We'll probably have the boosts out this week. Not probably, I know we will for a fact. The following week, we'll have the mining power increase. Now, Waleed says it'll all be in the same week, but I've learned that almost never happens because something comes up that you have to address or you have to deal with. For example, the hatcheries this week, those were very challenging. We forced smart contracts to do things that smart contracts really weren't designed to do, which is good because we're setting a precedence in the space. It can be done. So it can be done. Well, it can be done because we've done. Proof's in the pudding, right? Then we will get the challenges completed. The leasing is done. We just don't have a demand for that. And you don't want to release something if there's not a demand for it, because then you have a community of people that think it doesn't work. And so you bring it out when you know it's going to work, when you know it is going to be successful, because then you don't get any negative complaints from people. So it's not ready yet for leasing because the demand for those miners is not here. When that demand is here is when the market value of that token goes up. When we have 100,000 miners that are mining on a daily basis, that MoveQuest locks. That means that if MoveQuest is at $10 and it takes 100 MoveQuests, let's say, when we lock it, okay, to mint something, it's going to lock at $100. Now you've got miners that might cost $1 or $100 today that may cost $10,000 down the road. And so once that MoveQuest is locked, as far as price goes, it means, you know, a Trailblazer isn't $100, but a Trailblazer is 5 MoveQuests. So if MoveQuest is $100, it's now $500 for a Trailblazer. Now you've got a demand for leasing because you already own those miners. You got those miners probably free, or you paid $100 for them before we were giving them out in the mining dot. And now you're leasing them out. And people didn't have to come up with that $500 for what now costs you $100 in Trailblazers. Now, once we get to that point, that's when the leasing comes out. Then, of course, we've got all kinds of gamification that's coming. We'll talk about that another time. But locking up your tokens, if you're not selling your tokens and you're putting them in the hatchery, you're mining even more tokens. Okay, right now, beginning tomorrow, the daily mining distribution will drop down to 2,000. And the mining in the hatchery will be responsible for 1,000 up to 1,000 tokens mining per day. Now, the more MoveQuests that are in the hatcheries, the less that's being sold. Okay, now this has a massive impact on the algorithm within the ecosystem. If it knows that most of the tokens that aren't going to be sold are in the hatchery, mining more tokens for down the road, it can really start pumping in that liquidity because it knows that it's not going to be gobbled up with the little cells that take place. It will also start driving up the market value because it can stabilize the market value. And as the community begins to grow, your submission fees will be able to start decreasing. Okay, so there's an algorithm that's in there where your fees will be determined by supply, demand, what's in the hatchery, what can be sold. There's all kinds of things that determine this. But my point about the Bitcoin, when I was saying then it took $1,500 to sell $6,500 worth of Bitcoin, or you guys would pay, you'd faint if we charged you $1,500 to sell $6,500 worth of MoveQuest right now, wouldn't you? Think about that. We don't do that. Maybe we should. No, I'm joking. But my whole point is this. You want to bank as much of that MoveQuest as you possibly can. You may think that those fees, because it may not be profit to you today, but as the community begins to grow, you're going to start mining less and less and less of that token because the market value begins to go up more. It's going to be worth it to you, but there's more people that are mining that token. Now there's more people that are engaged in the ecosystem. Now there's more people who are submitting. There's more people who have leveled up their miners. There's more people who have unlocked their mining deck slots. They've evolved up to the Titans. They buy the boosts. They're enjoying the challenges. They're leasing out their miners. They're doing all these things within the ecosystem and even the gamification. And now there's an oversupply of what would be considered the liquidity, right? An oversupply of that. There's more coming in than what is actually being sold on the market based on the market value of the token. And so now the fees begin to decrease to where it could get to where it's only pennies to submit. So while you are paying what you consider, some consider to be high fees, you're also mining the most token that will ever be mined in this project because every 4 years there's a halving, just like Bitcoin did. And so it's going to get less and less and less. Now, while that drives up the market value, growth in the project drives up the market value, unlocking mining dock slots, all of these different things that can drive up the market value, you're mining less. But think about it. Those of you who are maybe not in profit today, maybe it costs you let's just say it costs you $7.52 and you only mined one MoveQuest. So you only got $4 worth of MoveQuest. You could have gone and bought it and gotten just a smidgen more of MoveQuest. But when you submit it, you're also contributing to that economy, to that liquidity pool. But you're still getting that MoveQuest that's going to have a higher market value in the future. And that's what a miner does. They're banking that MoveQuest that when the demand is there, they can sell it for a profit. So on Tuesday, I'm going to break all of this down so everybody completely understands how this works. I encourage all of you to talk to whoever you know that is in MoveQuest to take advantage of the hatcheries. Get into the tier 4 while you can, because that one has the highest reward. That one is very, very lucrative. It does compound automatically, so you don't have to go in and add the tokens. But that's what you want to do. You want to get in there because when there's 150,000 tokens in the Golden Hatchery, until there is more token that needs to go in, it will stay there, okay, at that 150,000 because it can only reward up to 1,000 Quest tokens a day. So there's an algorithm and there's a limit on what can go out. But it will also, once our community we know understands what the hatchery is and you get your tokens in, it will turn the algorithm on so that now it can start to, it will decrease and increase what can go into each tier, okay, of the hatchery. We already know, for example, tier 1, that timer ends in 30 days. So will they renew their hatchery card or will they sell it? Well, as a project algorithm, you have to assume they'll sell it. Now, if they don't sell it, that's great. Then the algorithm starts to pick up on that. It'll watch what that wallet does, and it becomes a little more precise on how it will start to work. Tier 2 is for a total of 75 days. And so X amount are allowed in 75 days because it's also based on past values, past selling, past amount of MoveQuest that's in circulation, all these different things that play into how it determines how many can be in tier 2 or tier 3 or tier 4. Tier 4 pays the most or mines the most reward. So, and you have to submit every single day. I shouldn't say that. If you don't submit today, it doesn't reward today. If you submit tomorrow, it rewards tomorrow. If you don't submit the next day, it doesn't reward that day. You have to submit for each day that you want to get that mining reward. And so on Tuesday night, and I would really love to see that call packed because I'm going to probably give you more information than I've ever given you when it comes to MoveQuest. I'm going to break it down so it's simple. I'm not going to just sit there and share spreadsheets. I've been working on this now for a couple of weeks. So you actually need a visual of how this works and what it does. So I think that's all I got today, Hayden.
No, for me, that was absolutely awesome. And I know that it was an amazing set of insight information for everybody who participated in this call. It's always a pleasure when we have the ability to hear directly from you, Lynette. That was awesome. There were so many nuggets of powerful information. And most importantly, most importantly, those of you who are here witness it firsthand. Invite to Tuesday night's call. It is going to be extraordinary. Lynette is preparing some visuals that will help unwrap the ecosystem in a way that everybody will understand. So promote that event. It's going to be super exciting, very informative. You know, Lynette always delivers, and we will also likely have some really powerful updates that have taken place between now and that time because we are pushing full speed forward. The devs are in the trenches, tweaking the system and updating it in ways that if you only knew, you would rush to make sure that everyone who you know, every associate, every family member, every neighbor, every friend, everyone knows about MoveQuest so you can remove the excuse from them. They will never be able to say that you were empowered, you got rich and switch. You didn't tell them anything. No, remove that excuse from them. Make sure that you share the details of this platform with everyone. It's very, very, very empowering. So that being said, thank you so much, Lynette, for contributing to this call. We truly appreciate you. We truly appreciate everything that you do behind the scenes and on the front line, because you are definitely one of the most visible founders of any project that I have ever witnessed. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. Now, let me share my screen for a quick second. We are just going to fly through some very important information and then hand it to another special guest. You know, it's very important that we all focus on doing the right things so that we can all be the most empowered with this platform and get started in a very big way and maintain and hold on to these digital assets for life and beyond. The first and most important conversation before you do anything is safety, security, and best practices. You see, as great as any opportunity is, it's important to do the right things to get the right results. This is crypto and blockchain, and making errors in this industry could be disastrous and result in loss of very valuable digital assets. So prioritize safety and security and best practices. Please write down all your passwords, your seed phrases and recovery phrases, and the security keys. Okay. Avoid electronic records. You want to have written records of these secure details. Okay, because if the device that you have this information on, that you've recorded it on, if it gets compromised, guess what? The criminals have access to your secure information, and all they will do is recreate your wallet on a different device and drain it of all its assets. Because that's the whole purpose of the recovery phrase, so that you can recover your wallet in case something happens to the device that it's on. So don't hand it over to anybody who asks you for it. Do not share your wallet password. Do not share the seed phrase. Do not share the recovery phrase. Those are the same things, by the way. Seed phrase, recovery phrase. The reason why I say both of them is because sometimes these criminals are a little tricky. They try to use terminologies that you've heard before and you hand it over to them. Do not be that gullible. You would not hand over the secret PIN for your bank account, so don't do it for a friendly voice on the internet. Beware of direct messages from random sources who you're not aware of, and even sources that you might recognize. Many of these criminals, they copy the IDs or the names, the name tags of people who you think who you are accustomed to seeing on a regular basis. Okay, so do not respond to those types of direct messages for people posing as customer support, technical support, or moderators of any of these platforms. Okay? Beware of text messages, emails. No one from MoveQuest technical support or customer support will ever contact you requesting private or sensitive wallet information. Only connect your wallet to 100% confirmed legitimate websites. Do not click on unknown tokens, gifts, offers that magically show up in your wallet. Do not click on unknown links and do not scan random QR codes just to see what it's about. Double check, triple check, and quadruple check all transactions before confirming them, and then ultimately sending them. One of the characteristics of crypto and blockchain is that transactions, once they are completed, they cannot be deleted, reversed, or duplicated. Now that's a very powerful feature, but once again, it can also work against you when you're making mistakes. But now that you have some of those basics, you can light this up in a very empowered way. You're ready to take action. You're ready to max out this opportunity to acquire very valuable digital assets, live healthy, stay rich. And the reason why I say stay rich is because you were born rich. If you try to count the amount of value that was given to you for free as part of this experience called life, you would not be able to count them. I'm pretty certain that if I gave every single one of you 10,000, $10 million, you would take it. But if I said the condition of receiving that $10 million is you have to give me your two eyes, you would probably say, hell no, forget that. Okay, $10 billion. Here, give me your two eyes. You still wouldn't do it. So that means you value your eyes that you were given for free more than the money. So focus on the attitude of gratitude, and that frequency is going to attract a lot of wealth and prosperity into your life. You were born rich. Now it's time to activate another layer of this A-player conversation. We are going to invite a very successful entrepreneur to our platform. This gentleman is a well-known member of the community. He does a lot behind the scenes, but the cool thing is that he actually does a lot in front of the scenes as well. I mean, Mr. Herschel Crow, I could talk for hours about what he brings to the table. But one thing I'm going to say is just to cap off today's event, this A-player announcement is all about the very first MoveQuest independent community member driven challenge, the MoveQuest Elite Challenge. So that by itself, the very first, even though it's an independent challenge, that by itself deserves some emojis. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the cyberspace Super Saturday stage highly valued core team member, Mr. Herschel Crow. Herschel, are you there?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Hayden, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. This afternoon, I am going to be extremely mindful of everyone's time this afternoon, and just want to share a couple of quick things. Um, you listened to Ms. Lynette a few moments ago state that this is a community-driven project, and what it takes to thrive and flourish is engagement. And oftentimes, we look at things from a financial perspective and what we can get out of something. However, MoveQuest is a multifaceted um, ecosystem that we do have the opportunity to leverage the financial aspects, but we also have the ability to, and in some people would look at this as even more valuable. We have the ability to actually impact our physical, and I'm gonna call it physical wealth at the exact same time. Our physical and financial wealth is all encompassed in this platform. And one of the things, the way it has been structured is for each and every one of us to actually keep at the forefront of our minds on a daily basis that physical activity. At the same time, when we're thinking about things from a health perspective, the MoveQuest Elite Challenge was designed for two or three different reasons. One is for those individuals that haven't really gotten engaged yet to have something else that they could engage in or be a part of that could help motivate them to get out and actually be more active. And for those individuals that have been active consistently over the last year or however long you've been a part of MoveQuest, to look at your health, look at your fitness, and determine whether or not there's some additional goals that you would like to achieve. As I always say, this is not a competition amongst each other, but it's a challenge for each individual to actually strive to get better and whatever better means to them as an individual, because we're all different. That being said, for those of you that have not had the opportunity to actually look at, see, or understand what's going on with the MoveQuest challenge, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let me see right here. You can actually access the challenge by going to MoveQuest. Hold on, making sure I'm sharing the right one. There we go. You can actually go to MoveQuest challenges, challenges with an S, and actually get a full breakdown. There's a video here that walks you through step by step and understanding what the criteria are to meet the challenge in its entirety. But it is a 90-day challenge where there's activity that will be tracked over the course of 90 days. However, those that actually engage now, because there's an entry period or registration period that began September the 20th, last Saturday. We are officially 1 week in, that will last until October the 20th. The earlier you begin the challenge, the more days of flexibility you can build in, rest days and travel days, sick days, or whatever days that you may not be able to work out to really complete the challenge between by the end date, which is January the 20th. So there's ample time, but the earlier you get started, the more flexibility that you have. And it's simply hitting in three different categories. Number one, from a physical activity perspective, it's 15,000 steps a day, 7 miles, and 1 hour of workout, just slightly above what the maximums are in the MoveQuest ecosystem or platform in and of itself. You know, challenging each and every one of us not to make our minimums our maximums or what have you, just to take a little an extra step. And then we go to another requirement of meeting the challenge is, which I'm going to show you guys some here in a moment, is submitting a weekly video. Now, if you want to submit more often, that's great as well, but submitting a weekly video of you engaging in some form of physical activity or a testimony updating the community on your progression. And that progression can be, hey, I'm hitting my goals. I am stagnant. I am going backwards. Whatever the case is, actually sharing that, because this is meant to position you to have support and encouragement to achieve whatever goal it is that you have set for yourself. And let me see if get this out the way so I can click on it. But to actually view some of those videos, you can go to what is now the official challenge Facebook page, and I'll make sure you have that ID here in a moment. But just want to give you a quick glimpse of some of the videos that have actually come in this week. I'm trying to see if it'll let me expand this without messing something up. But we've actually been getting individuals, and here's Miss Christine, who did a compilation of workouts that she performed over the course of the last week. These are the types of things that can actually get people encouraged to show, hey, wait a minute, there's someone that I can identify with that's getting it in. You know what? Let me put forth that same type of effort to increase or enhance my fitness level as well. Then you have Mr. Kenny D. not speaking, just getting the workout in the middle of the day, and a host of other individuals that are out on walks, enjoying nature, walking their dogs. We have a global presence from people from all countries around the world that are actually that have actually accepted the challenge to actually improve in their overall fitness and health in some type of way. And then, we got people walking early in the morning before the sun comes up, late at night after the sun has gone down. And then you have those individuals that, again, in, different places around the world with beautiful sceneries and things of that nature, out enjoying nature and the scenery and the sights. And then you have some people that actually, and I know she's gonna kill me for this, but actually out in the living room dancing and getting fitness in,
Hey.
making it fun throughout
Hit
the
it.
process. This is what it's all about in my
Okay.
what it's all about. Being able to actually have fun, encourage one another, and improve our health all at the same time. So, for those individuals that are already in the challenge, or for those individuals that would like the challenge, the majority of the communication can be done through MoveQuestChallenges.com. In order to get signed up, in the top, you can just click accept the challenge and complete the registration. When you go to the Google form that it leads you to, it has a complete written criteria of the challenge. That's also stated here in the overview video, which is extremely short. And when it's time for you to submit your videos on a weekly basis or more often, you can simply go on the website to submit videos and scroll down, and you can submit them either through WhatsApp, or you can send them via email. And I want everybody to know you can send raw video files through these mediums, but I also encourage each one of you, as you're going through this challenge, to actually post on your own social media platforms as well. And you can simply just send in the link to your post from your channel, so that we can actually follow and engage with you as well. So, hey, oh, one other thing. We are officially 1 week in as of right now, this call from last Saturday, and we are one person away, just one person away from reaching 100 participants within the first 7 days of the challenge. My goal is to actually see whether or not we can at least get 200 people, because the third thing that's required with this challenge is to share MoveQuest with at least 3 people over the course of the 120-day span of the 90-day challenge. Whether they come in and actually purchase miners, or whether they take advantage of the free phantom miners during that time. We just want to see that we are engaging other people so that they can come and share in the experience and see whether or not it's something that may be of interest to them as well. So with that, once again, I invite you, I thank you for being here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Hayden to go ahead and close the call out. But keep moving, stay healthy, keep submitting, keep sharing, and we'll all get there together. Back to you, Hayden.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Herschel Crow. That was absolutely incredible. We always appreciate all the updates that you and Miss Lynette share with the entire community. It was so cool to see some of those videos, very inspiring. I don't know about everybody else, but I am absolutely amplified with what's going on with this project and the community. I'm going to share my screen so that we can cap off this event. And likewise, once again, Mr. Herschel Crow, thank you so much for all that you do in front of the scenes and behind the scenes. We truly appreciate you and everything that you do for the community. So that being said, this is the Super Saturday MoveQuest overview event and A-player advanced training. It happens every single Saturday. Don't hesitate to share this information. Make sure you're aware of the links and get it out to those of you who have people that you want to share this project with. Just share the link. and invite them to be part of the conversation. We usually go in deeper on Saturday afternoons, but every single week we have an update call on Tuesday night. You heard it here right on this call. Miss Lynette Arton will be giving additional information on Tuesday night about what's been going on between now and Tuesday, as well. She's going to unwrap details about the self-sustaining ecosystem. And that is one of the gems of this jewelry box, the self-sustaining ecosystem and the algorithm that separates this project from the rest. MoveQuest is setting a standard in crypto and blockchain. Now, also, those of you who are not able to make it on Tuesday or have people, sorry, those of you who are not able to make it on Saturday and have people who are not able to make it on Saturday, every single Tuesday and Thursday, we have an incredible overview event designed for a first or second look at the MoveQuest platform. So please invite, invite, invite. Many times you're never a prophet in your own land, and sometimes people will listen to a third party more detailed than yourself. And there's no harm in all of that. And it's not a less respect. It's just that people are comfortable hearing things from you, but they'll listen differently hearing from somebody else. So invite to Tuesday afternoon. So that being said, we are going to wrap up this event for the day. Thank you all so much for being here. You know, Herschel made some really important points, and one of them is the importance of the health benefits that you can get from being active within this platform. There's a very powerful saying. The healthy person has many wishes. However, the sick or unhealthy person only has one, to be healthy. So, just a few words in closing. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is more than a technological advancement. It is part of a financial reset. And that reset is in motion right now. You are in the right place at the right time. So make sure that you add a few zeros and a few commas to your decentralized bank balance and ultimately to your net worth. It's time to level up and live life on your own terms. This is Hayden Andre, your friendly neighborhood digital asset investor, ending transmission for the day. It's time for me to go max out these steps. I encourage you to do the same, and let's max out this life. Stay rich and have an amazing day.